So what is memory? If you think you have problems with memory, you may recognize a few examples, such as tip of the tongue syndrome, where there is a word or a place or a name that is literally on the tip of your tongue, and for the life of you, you can't get it. However hard you work around it, you can't remember that word. The other thing that might happen to you is forgetting the name of someone really close to you, whether it be your partner or your best friend or a relative. You know that name, but in that moment, you can't quite remember it. Another example is frustratingly losing your keys or your wallet or your glasses or anything else, mobile phone maybe, that's usually on us, but we leave it somewhere. We leave it somewhere really, really silly, but we just can never find it. And then lastly, a really good example that a lot of people tell us about is telling a story to someone and you get halfway through and they go, "You've told me that before." And you can be 100% convinced that you didn't tell them that before. Whether it be a story or a really good joke, you haven't told them that before. But actually, you just can't remember telling them that before. So what is memory? Memory is made up of a number of stages. And it can be really, really helpful to use the idea of memory being a filing cabinet. So in order to remember something in the first place, we have to write something down on a piece of paper. If you watch the attention video, then you'll know that attention is really necessary for memory, and that's where the attention comes in. You have to pay attention to write something down. You then take it to the filing cabinet and store that memory, hopefully in the right place. And then at a later date, you come back an hour later, a week later, a year later, and you look in the right place and you retrieve it. That is the making of a memory. Paying attention to information, storing it, and then retrieving it in the future. Unfortunately, things can go wrong. And things can go wrong at any stage. And there are certain things that make these things going wrong more likely. And they're quite similar to the things we talk about when we talked in the attention video. So it could be a noisy, busy environment causing distractions or overload of information. It could be your physical health or pain. It might be the medication that you're on. It may be sleep or, well, poor sleep or fatigue, feeling tired or fatigued. And it could also be low mood or stress really impacts your memory, and frustration. So we can't necessarily change any of these things or all of them, but we can change some of them. So in the next video, we'll talk about some strategies that may help your memory. So how can you improve your memory? There are various different things that you can do to help improve memory. And I'm going to talk a bit about how to change your home or adapt your environment that can improve your memory. What you can do to help you learn new information. And finally, how to look after yourself that will improve your memory. So starting with changes to your home. It's really important to use your environment to improve your memory. So a good thing to remember is a place for everything and everything in its place. Now, this sounds quite simple, but by always keeping your keys or wallet or phone or glasses or whatever it is that's really important to you in the same place every day when you walk in through the door can instill a routine, a habit in you. It can mean that you relax a little bit because you don't have that panic in the morning of, oh my goodness, where is everything? And it can also help other people because if you say to your partner or your friend, your housemate or family member, I have no idea where my phone is, they know where it should be too. Another thing to do is to use things around the house to remind yourself. So we would always say to someone with memory problems, try and get a blackboard or a whiteboard or a chalkboard or whatever works for you, and use it to jot down appointments or lists or whatever you need to remember. But the really important thing about it is having it in the right place. So if every morning you wake up and you walk straight to the kettle, put it behind the kettle. If every morning you go to the fridge, have it on the fridge. Because chances are it's somewhere you'll go throughout the day, whether it's when you're in the house all day or before you leave for work, when you come in for work. It's something that will remind you. And the more it reminds you, the better it will go into your memory, the more it will be solidified in your memory, and the less you'll have to keep it ticking over in your head. Lastly, placement of objects. So again, you're using the environment. If I know that every time I walk out the door, I live in Scotland, chances are it's raining. But by the time I get out the door, my umbrella's still upstairs and I might be late. If I know I want to take the umbrella with me, I leave it in front of the door. I make it difficult to walk out that door without picking it up. And you can use that for anything. Anything you need to take with you when you leave the house, you put it in an obvious place. And it's similar to that chalkboard of reminding yourself. If you can put it in a place where you can't miss it, it automatically goes into your memory, or at least you're reminded of it. If there's something specific that you want to learn, that you really want to remember, and you're aware that your memory is not as good as it once was, then there are a few things that make it easier. So, firstly, and probably most importantly, is give yourself time. Give yourself time to learn this information. If you can, remove all distractions, give yourself quiet, so using all of your attention, and write it down. If you see something written down, then you're going to remember it better than just hearing it in your head or even saying it out loud. Do everything. Read it, write it, see it in your head. And if you can, make it relevant to you. Because we remember things that are relevant to our lives, relevant to our stories, our enthusiasms, whatever it is, we will remember it better if it's relevant. So give yourself time, remove distractions, write it down, and make it relatable. Lastly, it's really important to look after yourself. I talked about stress in the attention video, and stress has a massive impact on memory and thinking. All moods do, but stress, frustration really, really affect it. And if you can manage your stress, then it's going to improve your memory. Again, give yourself time, breathe, be kind to yourself. If you can't remember something, give yourself a break. Give yourself time. And maybe even practice admitting that you can't remember something. If it's in a social situation, you can start practicing with a partner or a relative or a friend. But if it's in a social situation, you can say, "I'm so sorry, I've just forgotten the word," or I can't quite remember that right now. And it is amazing the impact that people just go, "Okay." And as soon as that happens, you can relax a little bit, there's less stress, and it's easier to remember something. Let others help. I said it in the last video. It can be really, really difficult to ask for help. If you're not confident about doing that, tell them to watch this video. And if you've been told to watch this video, these are things you can do to help. If you understand what's going on, if you can ask that person what helps them and support them, that's the best thing you can do. Finally, notice how you feel. So I talked about stress, managing stress, easier said than done. It's also really important to manage your mood or be aware of it, because mood has a really big impact on memory. And we all manage our mood in different ways. But if it gets to the point where you think you're not managing it, then it may be worth going and having a chat to the GP and seeing if they have any suggestions for you. So, going back to what I said in the very beginning, 35% of people experience memory and thinking problems after cancer treatment. And if you're one of them, it means you are not crazy and you are absolutely not alone. Now, in the last few videos, we've talked a little bit about attention and memory, and hopefully you'll recognise some of the situations and have the confidence to try some of the strategies. Remember, there is no magic pill, but small changes can make a big difference. Be kind to yourself, ask for help, remember you are not alone, and the more we talk about this, the more people know about this, the more help there will be in the future.